Welcome to Mid-Season, where we talk about a one-season show that was kind of mid. I'm Sandile.
And I'm Fadzai.
And we're back again to talk about The Secret Circle. This time, episodes 19 and 20. Crystal and Traitor. A good pair of episodes. Now, you know what? I was very angry throughout all of 20. So we'll see if it was a good episode now that I'm out of that and not directly experiencing it. So we'll start with 19, which I did thoroughly enjoy. Well, maybe not thoroughly, but we'll get to that. So, Crystal, as you can imagine, it's about the crystals. We have begun the hunt for the crystals, initiated by John Blackwell and the rest of the Circle. Or I guess the Circle, he's not part
Find
of it.
the Dragon Balls.
Faye kicks off the
Dragon Balls.
episode already trying to find the one from her family. She is with Melissa, digging through her mom's stuff. The genius of Melissa is like, well, where would you not normally look? That's probably where your mom hid it. And Faye's like, I don't know, cooking places, cleaning places, wherever the bills are. Which, yeah, tracks. And she goes to some chest where I guess maybe Dawn would keep her financials, starts rummaging through, and finds a diary, which Dawn does not hide her shit well, but also as someone who had their diary read when I was in grade 9, I take personal offense to this.
Who
What
read
does
your
Faye say?
diary?
Faye says leaving something lying around is basically asking for it to get read.
Crazy.
Screw you, Faye.
Crazy.
You can choke.
Victim blaming, honestly.
Wild.
But I guess she was talking to her pen pal, Jeremy Gilbert. And he was like, oh no, I found my sister's diary the other week. And apparently she's been modifying my memories. So
you know,
screw her.
Life's kind of wild. Oh, earlier she said she had to look through her mom's underwear drawer. No one her age should have so many thongs. You wish you were as banging as Dawn Chamberlain at, what, 37?
You know what?
I guess when you're a child,
she is gorgeous.
You perceive your parent to be ancient. But Dawn Chamberlain is gorgeous.
She's
Thank
gorgeous. We love a deliciously evil queen. And
It's ungrateful children. Anyway, instead of a crystal, of course, they find Dawn Chamberlain's diary, and she starts reading it, and there's this very salacious record she's open to that she presumes is about her father, or Melissa presumes also is about her father. But as Faye reads on, she sees, actually maybe no, hands the book to Melissa, who reads on, and it's clear that it's about John Blackwell. We are, of course, continuing the thread of someone else in the circle is Blackwell's child. This indeed the episode for that discussion.
I guess no matter what the mystery was going to be, we probably weren't Clarissa Claring here, so we probably weren't thinking it was going to be Adam or Jake because they're already romantically linked to Cassie.
See, the thing is, I come from the world of soapies and telenovelas where that is a stock standard storyline. Where two people have gotten together and you find out later that they're siblings and it's super awkward. I think I mentioned last episode Jake was an option based on the stuff they've been threading through. I was fully prepared for that. So then they get back to the abandoned house, gathering together to talk about crystals. John Blackwell's not there as yet. Cassie's the one who demonstrates after she's asked. She says, my grandmother said it's like a lens that magnifies your own power, and then you can do solar magic. And Faye's like, so if I wanted to destroy this really ugly vase, then I could do it? She yanks it out of Cassie's hand. Everyone in the room is like, Faye, stop your shit. She does it anyway, and things start exploding all around the room in a way that she cannot control. John Blackwell flies in, grabs it out of her hand and goes, Faye, stop, in a way that maybe a disapproving parental figure might do. She's sufficiently chided and goes back to her little corner. John relays the plan for us again. They're trying to put these crystals together. You really start to see when you've watched enough TV how TV is written in a way that at the top of every episode we need to catch up the listener on what is happening right now. They're like, we have to find all the crystals from each family, put it together, and beat the witch hunters. They will say this again in the next episode because we haven't done it yet. So now we're going, okay, we have the Blake family crystal. Everyone starts piping up. Melissa's like, well, maybe my grandmother has one hidden. We can check at her place pretty easily. Adam's like, my grandparents are across the country right now. pin that for later. Diana's like, my grandmother disappeared after trying to kill Cassie, so no dice there. And Jake's like, my grandfather's a recluse off on some, I don't know, farmland or whatever.
And I was like, you have a grandfather? This Armstrong family dynamic is so interesting.
I'm fascinated. But I also have a bone to pick with that, and we'll get to that later.
Okay.
But John's like, great, we all have grandparents. Go rob them and bring back the crystals. Go in groups so that you can actually use your damn magic. The shit you people have been pulling for 17, 18 episodes is kind of silly. So they start grouping up and heading off.
We as the audience at this point know that the Chamberlain crystal, which has been drained, was with Dawn at the start of the series. Wait, no, is that the Chamberlain crystal? No, it's not. Wait, whose crystal does Dawn have?
Right.
Because Charles stole a crystal from Grandpa Chamberlain's house.
So Dawn, I guess, has the Mead crystal, which makes it crazy that she was lording over it for that long. Right?
That is crazy.
My goodness. Anyway, Adam and Melissa and Diana go together, and then Jake, Faye, and Cassie go together. Adam had asked Cassie if she wanted to go with him, and she was like, oh, I already told Jake I'm gonna go. But that turns out to be a lie, because again, she still has all the feelings of their love and their breakup, and she doesn't want to deal with that.
Also, just to show you that Faye is regressing, the minute that power is dangled in front of her, all her worst instincts come out.
Yeah.
Because Cassie's like, oh, I'm going with Jake, and Faye's like, I call shotgun, I'm going with Cassie and Jake. And I'm like, why?
Why?
Are you still trying to come? Really, Faye?
She
Because
says
Lee's
something
dead,
about
I guess.
unless you're planning a romantic getaway, and I'm like, we're not still here. Jake asks when they hop in the car, because he's like, obviously Cassie didn't ask me, he's like, why did you tell Adam that you were gonna go with me? And she's like, oh, it's just hard being around him. And he's like, hard? Didn't you both drink the elixir? And she's like, no, yeah, we did. Maybe hard's not the right word. Weird. And I was so worried they were gonna have her divulge to Jake Armstrong that secretly she still remembers everything, because I'm like, why?
No, she's directing all her unearned trust at somebody else these days.
Thank you for saying it. That will come back. Faye then hops in the car and is like, scoot up. And she pushes Cassie to the seat that where you have to put your legs around the gear, which is where I sat for the longest time as a kid in my dad's car because I was the younger brother. But I guess Cassie's smaller, so it's fine.
You know what? I was gonna say Cassie has shorter legs, so in this instance,
It's perfectly accurate.
as they drive away, some guy in a motorcycle helmet follows after them.
Callum! Oh my god.
And of course you know who it is immediately, because at the start of the episode, they were like previously, and one of the previouslys was Callum's thing with Melissa, which we haven't revisited in several episodes.
Several episodes, I'm like, why is Callum back? What? Why is he still relevant? It was very odd. Yeah. Callum Voodoo King number 2, 40-year-old drug dealer, has returned to our screens.
I googled it in 2011.
You know what?
So I love that you keep calling him 40.
Thanks for reminding me I needed to issue a public apology, because I did look him up after enough times disparaging him. I apologize to that actor who, I looked up images of him online. He looks much more his own age outside of this role. I don't know what they were doing to him in the show, but they made him look older. He is now in his early 40s.
Yeah.
He looks great.
They were trying to make him look sleazy, I guess, this slimy predator, and they overshot their mark.
And fair enough. So, yeah, Grant comes back right as the three of them are going to Melissa's grandmother's house, is where they're starting, because that's their best lead. Grant shows up and is like, hey, we were gonna go on a date because you were giving me a chance. I don't have an Australian accent, unfortunately, and there's nothing I can do about
I don't remember
that.
the line, so I can't quote him today. But,
I understand. I lean on you too much.
I can just
Paraphrase.
I can improv it.
Yeah.
He shows up being like, I'm all charming, and I'm telling the truth today. I've got a bouquet of flowers here, so let's go be romantic. And then she's like, oh, 1 second, and she turns around to Adam and Melissa, and she's like, guys, please, can I have this romantic subplot? I know we're supposed to be doing stuff today, but like, can I have a moment just for myself? Please,
They're like,
I
we're
beg.
on a mission. We're like time sensitive because we're stealing from an elderly person. We don't know when she's gonna be back. We don't know when she's gonna be gone. So we don't really have time for romantic side quest. And then out of the goodness of our heart, Melissa's like, I guess we can like fare with two of us. We can try and figure it out. Diana's like, oh my God, so you like don't need me at all? It's like, girl, that's not what we said, but okay. Go off with Crocodile Dundee, I guess. I don't know. So she does. She leaves on her little date.
And then as she leaves, Adam is like, g'day, mate. And then Melissa's like, that sounded Irish.
Irish. I really love that interaction. And I have to say, these two episodes, Adam and Melissa interact more than they have the entire show, and it is one of my favorite pairings. They're very cute.
It's always fun when an ensemble cast pairs off in a way that they don't usually do, and you're like, yes, let's explore this dynamic that we never get to see.
So yeah, they head off. Diana goes on her date. Oh yeah, while he's asking her, she's like, I really have something important to do. Can we arrange like for tomorrow? And he's like, we're shipping out tomorrow. I don't know if I'm going to come back anytime soon. I really can't find this.
And then I was like,
what are you doing
Why are
here?
we doing this?
Right. Why are you here? If you're leaving tomorrow and you may never come back, why are we wasting? I understand that like the moment is where we find joy in this life as we, struggle under capitalism, but also you're kind of wasting my time.
Yes.
Anyway, Melissa tells Adam, after the Irish comment, she tells Adam to like go watch something. She'll meet him out front. And when she goes out front, there is our friend and yours, Callum Voodoo King number 2. And I finally figured out what pisses me off about him. JPK was in a much better show than this about 2 years after the fact, called Black Sails. And there is a character in Black Sails who vaguely resembles not the actor but the character Callum, and is similarly destructive to the character of JPK in that show. And I think that synergy really pisses me off.
I see. Some of Black Sails was filmed here, right?
It was, yes. It was on our ship volumes, where our very own Fadzai Simango filmed One Piece Season 2. Check it out on Netflix on your local screens.
A bit part. you see more of Melissa's cousin and Diana's other potential love interest than you do of me in One Piece.
Hey, you were in the trailer and you were the only one speaking of Captain Smoker's crew. So as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, he's like, baby girl, how you been? How's that witch life treating you?
I've been texting you, emailing you, and she's like, and I haven't responded. What does that tell you? And I was like, love it. But also, you gave this man your email?
That's what I want to know. Later, she'll make a comment and she'll be like, a sign that my taste in men has hit an all-time low. Since when is Melissa romantically interested in this man? He was a supplier at best.
Yes.
And she went to a party one time at his place because she wanted a different high than the high that almost killed her. Why are we acting like this was a love interest?
Gosh.
I seem to remember Jake coming by and tackling him, but isn't Jake gone at this point?
I don't know.
Is that
I don't
later?
know where Jake came from. Jake shows up being like, is this guy bothering you? And he's like, no, we're all friends. Back away. And he's like, and Melissa's like, no, Jake, it's fine. He's like, no, he's after our magic. And he's like, our? Oh, so you guys are all
So
witches.
he's a witch too?
Okay.
Idiot. Idiot through and through. He's like, I'd never hurt you, Melissa girl, but this man, but Ken doll over here.
Yes, he calls him a Ken doll.
Just gotta remind you, Jake is so hard. Do you know how much a pint of witch blood goes for in the black market? Crazy.
I was like, hello?
Jake fights him. Nothing happens. We move on. Oh, I guess they haven't left at this point. This is crazy. Maybe they're just zip-zap-zopping to each other's houses to prepare. Because Cassie goes home to pick up something. I don't know. She doesn't seem to pick it up in the scene. But Grandmama is back.
Yes.
And she's in the kitchen.
And she's lucid.
Clear of mind, of eye, and of soul. Cassie was expecting her tomorrow and spoke to her dad earlier being like, hey, so I know y'all aren't the best of friends because she didn't like you for my mom, but she's coming back and I want y'all to get along. And he's like, I have a lot of people I need to reach out to. One of them is your grandmother. And she's like, oh, thanks, Dad. So now she's like, Grandma, I know the two of you didn't get along because you didn't like him for my mother, but he's in my life now. And Grandma's like, I guess I'll make a compromise. I'll sit down for dinner with him for you, my granddaughter. And she's like, oh, thanks, Grandma. I super have to run, though, because I didn't expect you today. And I have this thing. Why doesn't she tell Jane, clearly now lucid and clear on anything, that they are looking for crystals? As you'll recall, Jane knows that they are witches practicing and that they are facing problems. She has helped a number of times. Doesn't tell her what they're doing.
I have this
Jane's
thing.
like, go ahead, we'll see each other later. Listener, they will not. So, that's that. Cassie, Faye, Jake make the trip to Jake's grandfather's place. They find it locked. And you, of course, love this, Fadzai. Cassie literally turns to Faye and says, lock, unlock. And the three of them stare at the door, and like 100 locks click into place. I guess it is indeed an area effect spell, not a point target, because they clearly didn't know what locking system was there, and yet they managed to unlock it all instead of just the lock they were focusing on, presumably.
What I like about this moment is that in terms of non-verbal magic being like a refined skill, this is clearly the spell they've used the most. So now they're like, we just have to think about it really hard. Yes. And it works.
And you know what? It tracks if it weren't for the other instances where they do a seemingly new spell wordlessly when the moment calls for it. But I'm not here to nitpick. They get inside while Jake tells them about his grandfather being crazy. The last time he saw him was at his parents' funeral, and he was talking about the end of the world, so nobody's really holding out hope. They see the inside of his place, and it looks like, hoarder, like conspiracy theorist. There's papers stuck all over the walls. There's images drawn. And I would agree with them if not for the fact that Balcoin is written in very big letters on the wall, and right below to the left is Blackwell also. I would be like, hey, that's maybe very pertinent information, and maybe your grandfather isn't crazy, actually. Nobody does this.
It's very, very, very ageist of them to assume that this elderly man is just out of his mind.
Wild. Sorry he was in the throes of grief when his child and his child-in-law died, I guess.
Also, Jake, can we trust your 4-year-old memories?
They rely on that way too much. I was very confused when it was like, I remember at my parents' funeral, and I was like, yeah, that makes sense. My brain went to, in terms of chronology, when Nick died. Because that is the most logical, rewind to when a funeral happened. Then I went, no, his parents died 16 years ago. What is he talking about? When he was a baby, toddling from a car going, Mommy, we're supposed to trust that guy? All right. Anyway, they see their names on the wall listed again in chronological order. We get confirmation that Jake is roughly 3 years older than most of the members of the circle. I think Nick is the eldest of the circle and is closest to Jake in age. But everyone else is further out.
Jake is actually less than 3 years older than his two love interests. So I guess if that makes you feel better.
It doesn't, but congrats to him for getting away.
But then I was also like, wait, so what's the math here? Because I know by now we're probably in 2012 because we've had a Halloween episode, and I guess we skipped over Christmas and New Year's, and then we had Valentine's Day. So it must be 2012 by now.
Yes.
And Jake was born late 1992, so he's almost 20. So yes. I guess the others are all about to turn 17?
About to turn 17, yes. Or about to have just turned 17.
I see.
If you're saying they're less than 3 years younger than him, then they just turned 17.
Yeah, let me look here. I see. So it says Adam's birthday is January 1995. Faye is February. Cassie is March. Diana is April. And Melissa is May.
And Jake is October 92?
Yeah. And Nick is August 94.
I didn't expect him to be that much older than the rest of the circle. But I guess it makes sense.
Yeah, I guess. They don't
have to be the same age.
Sometimes if your birthday is late in the year, it affects when you start school in the Northern Hemisphere because their school year starts in September, which is weird.
That's true of the Southern Hemisphere as well. After June, they delay you to the next year. I know because my birthday's in December.
I see. Well, they didn't do that to me. I went to school the year that I was turning the usual age.
It might just be because you're from a different era, so they weren't doing that yet.
Oh, wow. Me in 1864.
Sorry, when the schools were... When the schools were still out in the fields, I guess they didn't have that rule in place.
When the blackboards were actually black.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there's a list there. There's a bunch of circles drawn on the wall. There's a lot of shit that they're taking photos of. And then the grandfather walks in. And he's like, who are you? What are you doing here? And he magically shoves this enormous table against them, pinning them against the wall. Jake's like, Grandpa, it's me. And he's like, that's a lie. And then he turns and looks at Cassie and Faye, and they all look at the table and shove it back with magic. And his grandfather immediately goes, it is you. Oh my goodness. And it's like, how all that changed from moment A to moment B is someone did magic. This could be any witch, Mr. Armstrong. This is insane.
He recognized the timbre of Armstrong magic.
The signature. But yeah, they embrace and hug. John Blackwell, I guess on his list of people that he said to Cassie he's reaching out to, speaks to Charles.
Outside his place of work.
By his law firm. Charles is looking like a man on like business. John's like, hey man, just here to clear the air, nothing to worry about. Charles is like, I want you dead and I will make sure that happens. It comes up because they're talking about 16 years ago. Charles blames John for the slaughter of the witches because he promised them a truce with the hunters wouldn't work out. John is like, yes, I said we should stand together against the witch hunters, and we failed because we weren't all united. Once again, referencing Amelia and Ethan, I guess. Mm-hmm. Charles is like, the mother of my child, when she told you that you were being a fool, you killed her. Entirely new information to me. Has this come up before?
I don't think so. I'm not even sure if we've ever heard her name before this episode. We now know she's called Elizabeth.
That's the thing that also pissed me off, is that like we don't know anything about her. So that she's now a wedge between these two men feels really like, okay, who cares about her, I guess. But I guess we know her name now because that will become important later. John is like, I don't know what happened to Elizabeth. And Charles is like, I don't care, I'm gonna kill you because I know it was you, goodbye. That's when Grandpa comes through and they reunite, him and Jake. Then we cut to Grandmama, who is with Charles now. Charles has gone over to her house and she's like, quickly, I'm still making the symbol. And it's like, hello? I've come in halfway through a plan. Because the last thing we saw of these two was Charles using the crystal, I guess, to wake Jane up. And since then, either Jane has forgiven him for the shit he's pulled, or he is controlling her. And I still don't have the answer there.
It's possible he just wiped her memory of him doing anything to her.
Oh my God.
And was like, okay, now we can just be allies now that I've erased that stain on our relationship.
The things that Jane will never know, I want so many people dead. Oh my God.
Also, the symbol she's carving onto the underside of a chair that she wants John to sit on.
The witch's hammer.
She calls it the hammer of the witches, Malleus Maleficarum. And I was like, that's actually meant to be a spell book or like a book of practices and stuff. So it's interesting that now it's just like a magical symbol.
Maybe just some bad research. It was 2012. I guess 2011 when this was written. It happens. Sometimes you're really quickly looking for a name online and you just slap it into the script because it's due tomorrow, So yeah, she's carving this really cool symbol that Charles doesn't recognize, which again reminds you that like there's layers to this shit. The elders have experience that his generation does not. Mm-hmm. She's like, this will hold him in place, immobilize him and his power. You will then approach behind him with the crystal and we will finish him off. Because Jane's apparently ready to kill him.
Yes.
She has a witch crit hidden away that she made 16 years ago to kill John Blackwell.
I love because I'm assuming these people are all very close in age. So I'm like, I love the idea that 16 years ago, when her daughter was like a young 20-something, she was like, I don't like your boyfriend. I might have to kill him. I'll keep this as a backup.
Just a backup in case he tries some shit, because I know he's the type. I will snap his neck, magically speaking. Better yet, I will wither him to nothing. Jane Blake, I was somewhat familiar with your game, but this is a step up that I highly respect. Grandpa Armstrong starts unveiling to the trio what all his scratchings and ramblings are about. Mm-hmm. He knows about Blackwell and the ball coin. Well, he starts from the circles to begin with, because he's like, y'all have powers, you've bound your circle, it's too late, I can't help you, you're doomed. They're like, what the hell are you talking about? He's like, the original witches who came to Salem were 3 circles. Mm-hmm. I was like, Only 3?
He says
of 6?
He says 18 families.
18 families
that split off into
circles.
3 circles. So I'm like, okay, so a circle is 6 families. So that means some of these people's parents had to have married in.
Yes, that has to be true.
Unless we're doing the Mystic Falls cousin nonsense.
My question is, I guess with enough people dying because of, I don't know, the elements, consumption, and so forth, how are the circles remaining together? Especially with the way magic passes on when people die. If you have enough kids that don't always stay home, you know, like not everybody likes to stay in their hometown for the rest of their lives. How do they keep the circles tight? Maybe culturally, I don't know.
Perhaps.
Anyway, 2 circles remain east, 1 circle went west, and that is the circle in question in Chance Harbor. 16 years ago, a man named John Blackwell tried to corrupt the circle. It's like, ooh, okay, we're getting answers as to what was happening. He knew he couldn't corrupt the circle from the outside, so he wanted to do it from within. His plan was to sire as many children as he could with the circle, so that over time, long game, the circle would be dark enough that he would be able to turn them to his side. And it's possible he's not just trying to corrupt this circle, he's also doing it with the other 2 circles back east. So as Fadzai had said, John Blackwell used a hoe, but use a hoe with purpose is what we're learning.
John Blackwell. And you know what? They spend the rest of the next 2 episodes slut-shaming him, and I love it.
Every single person calling him a whore. And it's so funny to me. He's like, if he's able to get enough sired children that have the Balcoin magic, then the war between evil and good will be lost. It will be tipped in the favor of evil, and the rivers will run with blood. And Faye turns around and gives the most wide-eyed look to the other 2, being like, when are we leaving? Jake's like,
I think Cassie's the one who's like, wait, did you say children plural? Blackwell children?
Jake is at first like, sorry to bother you, Grandpa, because he's trying to be like, oh my god, my grandpa's crazy, and now my friends are like seeing it. Oh, this is awkward. And then Cassie's like, hold on, there's something that you're saying that I already know to be true.
Did Cassie know about the plurality? I thought that was Jake's thing, because Jake is then like, oh yeah,
you're right,
Isaac did
Cassie
tell me there was more than one Blackwell child. And then Cassie and Faye are like, and you never mentioned this? He's like, no, Isaac was a liar and a manipulator. I thought he was just, trying to control me again with his half-truths and fibs. And I was like, Jake, this is crazy that you just decided to ignore this.
Piss me off. I think that happens after they leave, because I know that from Grandpapa saying this, Faye is then like, wait, what if it could be me? I just found a diary entry early on from my mom, who apparently had a relationship with John Blackwell. And that's when Jake is like, well, Isaac told me that there might be one of the persons. It's like, hello? That's
okay.
when they were like, what the hell, dude?
I see.
So Grandpa's like, best of luck on that mission.
Does he not tell them about the crystals?
Cassie's the one who's like, well, we're looking for the crystals. We are hoping that if we can get them together, we can protect ourselves that way from any danger that comes. Grandpa's like, absolutely not, I won't give you my crystal. I've protected it, and if it gets in the wrong hands, that's too much power. I've hidden it in a mine far away that can't be reached by hands of dark magic. I've spelled it so that you can't get in. And it's like, well, you've told them it's in a mine, so you have made it easy for them, but, who's to mine?
And is it in this scene that he tells them that the crystals add up together to make a crystal skull? Which I was like, ooh.
Indiana Jones.
Ooh, crystal skulls, which contrary to popular misconception, are not a Mesoamerican cultural thing. That does come from Europe. I think the earliest one might have been like Germanic that people are aware of.
That makes sense.
It's not an indigenous American thing. He tells them that the crystal skull is the most like dangerous magical object ever created. And I was like,
weapon of destruction
fun.
that's been ever created. And I'm like, what were the other ones? You say like there's a number of them. I wish we gotten more seasons of the show for them to get better and for more things to happen. Because I'm like, if the skull's just one, what are the other ones? Moving on to more important things, Grant and Diana on their date, which is in her house.
I'm like,
they're just getting stuff for the picnic.
Maybe, because I was like, why are you now in her house, which is also where Adam and Melissa happen to be.
Well, Adam and Melissa, right. Earlier, Adam and Melissa went to Melissa's grandmother's place, and this is the thing that pisses me off about Grandpapa Armstrong, is that we get a whole episode storyline bit about Grandpapa Armstrong. Mm-hmm. We don't even see Melissa's grandmother. Mm-hmm. She's a punchline. She's kooky old lady who keeps a bunch of crystals. Is no one, and the answer is no. No one's concerned for a second that Melissa maybe needs a moment, right? Like, maybe this episode could have been about a grandmama. Maybe I'm misremembering, because I was so certain we met at least one of Melissa's grandparents, but maybe I'm misremembering Grandpa Armstrong as Melissa's grandfather.
Maybe you are.
That sucks. I was so sure we get one of her grandparents, because I remember her being in the cave looking for the crystal, and I think that's maybe what poisoned my memory.
She has one relative. It's her gorgeous dark-skinned cousin. He showed up, I guess, as a palate cleanser for Diana post-Adam, and then he left.
Does that mean we're gonna go this whole show with Melissa being the only one who we haven't met a single, real family member of? Magical family member of?
Yep.
Okay.
Probably.
I just needed to say it out loud, that's all. They come back from her grandmother's place because there's a bunch of crystals and they can't tell which one's which because they think she spelled it to hide it amongst them.
And Diana's like, can't you just use magic to figure it out? And they're like, well, surprisingly, I guess 2 is not enough. We should have stuck in a trio. We need more magic.
Before Melissa and Adam tell her all this, Melissa tries to flag her attention while she's in the room with Grant and is like, hey, sorry, girlie, we need you. It's an emergency. Grant almost turns around and sees her, and Diana saves it with a kiss and then looks over Grant's shoulder with some flat brows as Melissa's like, sorry, bestie, but we're trying to save the world and save ourselves here, so maybe pause your date a little bit.
You said flat brows, and I thought his eyes are wide, his brows were flat.
So she tells Grant, 1 second, I'm gotta run down and fetch some wine, and he's like, I've got some wine in my car. I keep going British. Rise of Lights, Bondi, Beach. I've got some wine in the car.
I love it.
There we go. I'm feeling it now. I've got some wine in the car. And she's like, well, actually, I like my wine warm, so I'm going to grab the one from my home.
Crazy.
And he refuses to accept any answers that she has for whatever reason. So she goes downstairs, helps Adam and Melissa, or tries to, and then he walks into the garage where they are. And maybe I'm crazy, Fadzai, because I didn't go to enough people's homes as a child because I was sheltered. But if you're a guest in someone's home and they ask you to wait for them somewhere, do you wander around their house and trying to find where they are after 2 minutes? Is that typical?
Certainly not, especially if it's your first time in someone's home. Why would you? That's just. I'm also he clearly suspects she's lying. I'm like, what if she had to go adjust her bra or something? She's a young lady.
What if she had to go take a shit? Are you walking into the bathroom? Curious minds would like to know.
Maybe she needed to fart. Maybe she needed to change her pad. It could be anything. Leave her some privacy.
Be the gentleman you're so desperate to pretend to be. What is this? I was unless he's some sort of villain, I don't understand what's happening here. Whatever.
Because he's looking oh, I can sense the lies. And I'm like, sir, you were lying yesterday. So let's not.
Because you're the expert. Right. And frankly, if the shoe's on the other foot, you should take that with grace.
You know? And she has to be oh no, I'm just helping them with a school project. It's geology. And then Adam's like, yeah, we were trying to distinguish these different quartzes. And then he's like, quartzes? And I was like, all right, sorry, we don't know the plural for quartz.
Is it quartzi?
I have no idea.
I'm sorry, the American education system failed us. What am I supposed to do?
And then Diana's like, I'll quickly sort this out and then I'll get back to you. He's like, oh, maybe I can help. I did, rocks for jocks when I was a kid. And I was like, of course you effing did. Because you're Australian and you're outdoorsy and athletic. And obviously you did rocks for jocks when you were a kid.
I think that was a full-on lie. He didn't want to leave the room, and it pisses me off because what sort of cachet do you think you have? Anyway,
gosh.
Diana helps them find the rock and then leaves mad like it's their fault witch hunters are after them. But I digress. She is stressed out. It's not her fault. Now that they have the correct crystal, they've got one more. So that's a win. We've got the Glacier crystal. At Grandpapa Armstrong's house, they go back in because someone has broken a window, and they go inside, and Grandpapa Armstrong's like, the map to the crystal, someone's taken it. And it's like, what? Who? How? And then we look out the window, and a bike is driving away, and it's like, what is Callum doing here? So apparently Callum heard this entire conversation, maybe? From where? I don't know. And is now on his way to get the crystal.
In the mines.
Cassie texts Adam and Melissa, and presumably Diana, because she doesn't know Diana ran off on a date, in advance, being like, maybe they'll get there faster. And so everyone's now running to converge on the mine. Adam and Melissa go into the mine. This is when she's like, oh, Callum, always a thorn in our side. My standards have dropped or whatever. And it's like, get that shit away from me. I don't want it. They go in and it's dark. And they try to switch on some light bulbs with magic. Melissa's like, focus on the bulbs. Nothing happens. Adam touches the wall and is like, rust. And I was like, what does rust have to do with anything? I swear if rust is something that also inhibits you. Then I was like, oh wait, yeah, rust. Rust is an oxidization of iron. It's not the rust that's the issue. It means that this is an iron ore mine.
I would think you would get that immediately, being the physical science boffin that you were.
Yeah, so would you believe it? Sometimes my emotional response is faster than my logical one. I don't know if you'd be able to tell that from this podcast. So they're like, we're gonna have no magic in there, and it's a dangerous place to be normal.
As we've discussed, so just pure iron, well, I don't know if iron ore is pure iron, but just regular iron ore in this instance, weakens them. Why did it need to be iron sulfide or sulfate or whatever it was in that first instance?
I mean, you said it might be the form that's like either most abundantly available or easiest to like create into an enclosed shape. Yeah, I guess that's it. You don't often find places that are just permeated with iron in the walls, you know?
That's fair.
I don't know. This is us doing work. I don't know.
So our fairies who think they're witches are depowered by the abundance of iron around them.
But they head in and they just flick a switch and the light bulbs go on. And I guess it's like, well, maybe magic is a crutch. Sometimes you need to just do some logical things. Mm-hmm. Back to Jane and Charles trying to kill John Blackwell. Oh. He comes over for dinner, as discussed. Jane successfully lures him into the chair with the hammer of the witches on it. And for a second, it's like maybe he suspects because he's like, that's a strange place for a chair. But he sits down anyways. And the moment Ass touches seat, Charles is there in the background with the crystal turned outwards, and it's like, oh shit, they executed on that quick. He starts to fall asleep. She's like, right, now let's get you, bastard. What have you been up to? Did you kill Amelia? Because that is apparently Jane's primary thing. She wants to know if John Blackwell killed him.
Because I think Charles is like, cool, let's kill him quickly. And then she's like, no, wait, I need some answers first. I've always suspected Amelia's death wasn't a mistake.
She blows out the match that Charles already has lit.
She's like, I always suspected Amelia's death wasn't an accident. And then Charles is like, oh, shit.
It was Catholic.
And then Charles is like, no, I mean, if we ask him, he's just gonna lie, obviously, and say he didn't do it. And she's like, no, the crystal will show us the truth. And he's like, oh, sweating bullets, oh no.
Grabs it out of his hand. Cut back to Adam and Melissa wandering through the mines. He's reading the map being like, it's here. Wait, no, it's here. But then eventually he navigates to the right place. Melissa was behind by like 10 feet and I was so sure something was going to grab her. I don't know if you watched Moon Knight. There's that third episode where they're moving through the Egyptian tombs and those like mummies.
I've only watched Moon Knight once. I've probably forgotten a lot of it.
So yeah, Adam and Melissa get to the point where the crystal actually is, and there's a big old gap. And Adam goes, actually, I'm the action hero. Mm-hmm. And he grabs this hanging rope using his jacket and leaps across the chasm, swinging and landing on the other side. Stacks some like stuff together, climbs up and gets the crystal from behind the wall. And this is like, hell yeah, badass. Then he comes and swings back and he almost falls into the hole and she has to help him up. And it's like, yeah, we can't always stick the landing, but nice try. As they're trying to escape, Callum shows up with a literal gun. And I'm just like, I need this man dead. I need him to go. But they have to give him the crystal because he's going to shoot them.
What's sad is that a literal gun would work on these characters because their magic is very easy to deactivate. And they're not, durable or...
It's very slow even when they have it. So they give him the crystal after Adam tries and fails to knock the gun out. He like shoots off a bullet. Like, I'm like, brave Adam, but like, damn.
And Callum is even like, listen, I'm not a terrible person. I could have just shot you already and taken it.
I'm just pointing a gun at two minors.
At a bunch of teenagers. And they're like, what do you even want with this crystal? You're not a witch. He's like, I'm going to sell it on the black market, get a lot of money, and retire to my own voodoo island. And I was like, a private voodoo island? Okay, that's a thing, I guess. And then he looks at Melissa and is like, you can come with me if you want. I'm a lot more fun than your circle seems to be. And I was like, are you actually interested in Melissa now? Like, because if she leaves her circle, she has no power. So that means you're just interested in her.
32-year-old drug dealer. I truly don't get what the hell's happening here with this pretense about a romantic connection. Anyway, he runs off with the crystal. They run out. People are running in at this point. Everybody's here.
The rest of the circle arrived, and they had heard a gunshot. So Jake, Cassie, and Faye arrive. Diana is already there, and she's like, I heard a gunshot. And they're like, okay. Then Callum drives out, and they're like, quick, stop him. And Cassie, understandably, is like, okay, Jake and I are going to go inside and make sure Melissa and Adam haven't been shot. You guys go after Callum.
And Diana has gotten here after having received the call and having to end the date with Gareth, who is still being weirdly pussy. Grant, right? Grant. And she's like...
Oh, yes, because Grant was like, oh, I can tell you were lying. And she was like, you mean the way you did? He was like, yeah, but when I was lying, I was doing it to spend more time with you. You're lying to get away from me because I guess
Jump into the bay and drown. I don't know why he thinks he's this important. Do you know what this is? This is Liam from season 6 of Vampire Diaries. Except Liam wasn't this annoying, I don't think. Liam, it wasn't his fault.
At least.
Grant, I think it is. Anyway, she leaves that man. Cassie and Jake try to run in, but Cassie stops because she's struggling to breathe. She's gasping for air. She's like, it's the spell that your grandfather put, Jake. My dark magic, I can't go in. Jake is like, okay, I'll keep going. You go find Diana and Cassie.
Diana and
Cassie going after Callum.
Going after Callum.
What did I say?
Faye, you said Cassie. See, we're getting all the names mixed up.
Diana and Faye going after Callum. Callum coming at them with the bike.
Faye, who has spent the whole episode being like, I suspect I am the long-lost Blackwell child and I have dark magic. She was like, oh, Cassie, earlier on the episode, she was like, Cassie, just like tell me how to access the dark magic. And then Cassie was like, well, I accessed mine after Grandma Mead tried to bury me alive and kill me. Right. So maybe you should call her and get her to test it out.
Because she's poking at Cassie the whole time, being like, oh, you think I'm going to steal your dark magic thunder? And it's like, okay, let me remind you that this shit isn't a game and it isn't for kicks. Literally, I almost died. That's the reason I have this shit. So if you want me to organize that for you, say the word. Because I'm tired of a bitch speaking out the side of her mouth. Okay? Now she's like, I have to access my power. Because I guess she's Bella in New Moon trying to create a near-death experience for her to activate her dark magic. So she nearly gets run over by a bike and Diana has to knock her out of the way and nothing happens. And she's like, my magic didn't come. And it's like, what magic? You invented this.
She looks so disappointed.
You made it up.
My magic, it didn't work. And I was like, you said that with the same flavor of disappointment as a believer from 2010 who found out that Justin Bieber was dating Selena Gomez and was like, oh no, now I'll never end up with him. And it's like, ma'am, you live in Scotland. Justin Bieber is a Canadian living in Atlanta, Georgia. You were never going to end up with him.
You've got believers on the mind today. I saw that tweet. I see you. Faye's pissing me off with this one. After so much goodwill, she's pissing me off. Back to Charles and Jane. Jane asks John the question. John says his piece. I didn't kill Amelia. I loved her. I know that we broke up and we went our separate ways, but I would never have done that. And the crystal, which is meant to turn black when someone lies, it stays perfectly clear.
Because Charles is like, well, he's lying,
Charles
obviously.
In the background,
like, no, it would have turned black if he was lying.
Because Jane is now starting to step back off the ledge, being like, okay, well, it's the truth. She's like sobbing. She's like, there's nothing we can do. She pulls back. Charles like, no, we're here to kill him. She's like, he didn't kill Amelia. I can't do it then. That's what my shit has been this whole time. Charles is like, well, my shit is I'm here to murder this man no matter what. So step out of the way, Grandma. Grabs the cruet, lights the match. And she's like, wait, no. And he's like, you better listen to her. This is a mistake. Which I want to state for the record is not nearly enough.
You know, John Blackwell
anyone wants to suggest that John Blackwell,
you don't want to do this, trust me. And I'm like,
some sort of victim. That is not enough. That will not hold up in a court of law. Charles Meade is like, what? Send you to hell? Lights the match, drops it into the cruet. Jane Blake takes a gasp flips over like she's been shot, and collapses to the ground and immediately withers.
It's
to a nothing
horrible.
corpse.
Charles reaches
Dead.
out to touch her and burns his hand. And then John Blackwell stands up, I guess because the person who cast the spell is now dead, and is like, well, tried to tell you, Charles.
And it's like, no, you didn't. No, you didn't, actually. It is equally your fault that woman is dead because you changed the goddamn cruet. Yes. So from the get-go, this is your fault.
He's like, I had days alone in this house to remember how much Jane Blake hated me. So I found the witch cruet and I swapped it out for, I guess changing the blood and the object inside. But wait, don't you need an object inside that belongs to the witch?
I guess
Wouldn't
you
she have seen that his
rummaged-
ring was no longer in there?
Wait.
See? Plot hole.
Hold on. Because she noted that his ring was in there and she was looking at the cruet. She wouldn't have missed that. No, don't tell me Jane died for bullshit.
When a werewolf is stabbed with silver,
It heals. This is the network we live on. I thought it was pretty difficult. Charles the Bastard Man was hard to surpass, and John Blackwell truly found a way.
You know?
But I want them both dead.
John Blackwell said, hold my drink. You think this man is evil?
I want both of them dead. I don't care for either of them. They can choke.
Also, not to victim blame, but I'm like, who let him into this house? Cassie.
Nah,
she shouldn't have done it.
She's desperate for a father. If we're gonna forgive Jake for it, we're gonna forgive Cassie for it, certainly.
Yeah, but Blackwell easily overpowers Charles and takes the crystal that I guess
With
is
ease.
the Chamberlain crystal.
So
from
crystal number 3 received, and he's like, well, you are my bitch now, Charles Meade, and we will talk in future. So that ends there. I guess Callum's bike crashes because suddenly
Cassie comes out and uses magic to make the bike malfunction, so he falls over. That happens right after Faye's like, my magic, it didn't work.
Oh, that's embarrassing for Faye. But Jake, Adam, and Melissa come up to Callum. Jake and Adam are like grabbing him by the shoulders, and he's like, no, hold on, I gave you the crystal, whatever. And okay, he didn't give them the crystal. It fell out of his pocket and someone swiped it. He's like, leave me alone, I didn't do anything. And Melissa's like, I'm sorry, I can't let you hurt my circle. And for a second, I thought she was gonna do something. And then
Oh,
Jake
please.
pulls out a knife to cut his hand. And I'm like, thematically, they have now bludgeoned Callum into Melissa's character form, which they've been doing this entire episode. They won't even give her the resolution of this storyline. Why isn't she the one marking him? And I don't care if it doesn't make sense that Melissa should know the marking spell. Let her know it. There are enough books in that house. She ran into it. She knows plants now because of Nick. She knows the marking spell because she did her reading. Let her know the marking spell, and she marks this man who is a danger to the circle through her attachment to him. No, Jake needs the moment. Just like Jake gets every goddamn call out every time they do circle magic, Jake gets every bloody line. I'm sick. I'm sick of Jake Armstrong. I'm so upset by this.
I agree. Melissa is absent so often that if anybody's doing off-screen research and learning stuff, it should be her.
Gotta be her. Jake marks him and says, if you ever come back, we'll know. And that ends that. So after he's dealt with, Cassie goes to Diana's house because Diana texted her, and Diana's like, I'm taking a break. The circle shit is too much for me, actually. Cassie's like, you are a witch by birth. I don't see how you're gonna pull that off. Not to mention, you started this shit, so we kind of are here because of you, and we need you because we are 6. Diana's like, I don't give a shit. I'll help y'all with the witch hunter shit, and then I'm out. I'm bouncing, I guess, with my Australian man. She doesn't mention him, but I don't know what else this could mean. Cassie's like, okay, well, kind of funny how suddenly you don't lock in when we're in trouble. You didn't even come to the mine in time while we were getting shot at. And Diana's like, bitch, don't you dare. I was there. I just couldn't get in because I was struggling to get a breath. I felt like my lungs were collapsing. And Cassie's like, the spell. The dark magic block. Miss Sestra Diana Blackwell, you are the seed. You are the Blackwell child. And that's how this episode ends.
Sisters. And that's why Diana and Adam can't be a bi for bi couple who are both interested in Cassie.
That's why this homophobic plot beat, actually, making them sisters, is queerphobic, and I don't appreciate it.
Oh, there's one last thing that happens that's insane. Faye has a scene with John Blackwell, who now has the Chamberlain crystal.
Yeah.
She's like, where'd you get that? He's like, an old friend gave it to me. That's all he says, and she accepts this. I was like, Faye?
Yeah.
Really?
That's her daddy.
And then she mentions, oh, I thought I was your long lost daughter, but I guess it didn't happen. But like, you know, you were sweet on my mom and stuff. And he's like, oh, the stuff your mother wrote in that diary is fan fiction. Ooh. She and I were vibing, but we never hooked up. And Faye's like, but she went into such detail. And I was like, Dawn Chamberlain, you are crazy for this. If this is true.
I almost wish that it was true because that's funnier, even though, wow, all of us falling for the blatant misogyny. And that says something about our society, that we're more willing to believe a woman made up some crazy diary about a man than the man is not willing to fess up. But I digress.
She's like, yeah, my mother only practiced writing Dawn Blackwell 100 times in her diary. And I was like, oh, man, weren't you in your 20s at this point? Or is this your teenage diary?
Well, no, I think they were like teenagers. Yeah, they were like late teens. Charles tells John, I'm not a teenager anymore, so I'm not going to be so easily swayed by what you say.
I see. Okay.
I think Papa Armstrong might be the only one who was a little bit older, which would explain why Jake is a little bit older than the others.
But Jake is 4. How old was Mama Armstrong when she had Jake?
Don't ask me questions. I don't know.
La da 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 da.
But he's like, Faye, you're not alone. You have your circle. And I may not be a father, but I'm also here, okay? Let me entrench myself in your life as a trustworthy figure so that you are there for me when the time comes. Mm-hmm. This is what we call grooming. Mm-hmm. Children, if an older man suddenly shows up in your life and presents himself in this manner, be wary.
It's not always sexual or romantic.
True. Sometimes they present paternally, and you need to be wary of what their intentions are. Stay safe. Then we move on to Traitor.
I love that Olivia Rodrigo song.
You betrayed me. I think it's funny that this episode's called that because they've been, I think they've said it once or twice before, but this episode they're constantly going on about Traitor Witch. Mm-hmm. And I said it before, I was like, I think we've accounted for everyone that we know who is magical and that is known to us. So I don't know what they mean when they say Traitor Witch. It can't be somebody who we don't know and comes out of nowhere. That would be crazy if they do that. And I had forgotten. And I remember, no, I didn't remember is the thing. It occurred to me 2/3 of the way through the episode, and then the memory came back afterwards of like, oh wait, that happens before the show ends. Right.
I had no idea.
Really?
And I haven't watched the last 2 episodes, so I don't even know what the explanation is. I can't wait to find out.
I also haven't watched the last 2, and I don't remember them very well, except for the last scene of the show.
Oh,
but
no,
I
shame.
remembered vaguely subconsciously this happening. And I was like, oh yeah! Very fun. Anyway, Grandmama Jane's funeral. I hate it here.
We're diving right into it.
Into it. And our mutual friend brought this up. We were talking about it in when we discussed the first 2 episodes of the show, of how Cassie and grief is like... Because outside of one moment in her bedroom, that scene with Adam, you really would not be able to tell her grandmother literally just died a couple days ago. But I guess she's busy, and fair enough. On top of that, because Diana comes over for the funeral and Cassie's like, hey, is everything okay? And Diana's like, you're the one grieving, girl. Are you good? They are talking about Jane dying. They think it's witch hunters, which is what John Blackwell said, I believe. Mm-hmm. Diana's like, yeah, I don't know if I'm super in the space to talk about the other stuff. And she's like, what, you mean John Blackwell being our father and us being sisters? Because if it does turn out you're my sister, I'd be really happy about that. And Diana has this look of horror on her face. I was like, oh no.
All right, Diana. Only for that, I'm like, listen, Cassie has lost 2 family members who before this were the only family she had left in her mind. So, you know,
oh, that's funny.
She's looking for relatives everywhere she can.
If she's like afraid of it because that means she's on a hit list. That's very funny.
She's like, Cassie, I don't know. Your familial I love you send people to the grave.
That means I got crosshairs on my back, girl. Ooh. But yeah, that's what happens.
Diana makes it clear that she doesn't want to tell the others that she's a Blackwell spawn. And she's like, you know what I'm going to do?
Right. She's like, we shouldn't buy this immediately. I need evidence and I need proof.
I'm going to talk to my real dad first.
And it's like, hell yeah, my logical queen Diana, you are correct. Jake rocks up at the funeral shouting bloody murder for why no one knows, because he didn't even know Jane Blake like that. In fact, I'm pretty sure they had one interaction and she didn't like it. Comes puffing his chest being like, we was the witch hunters? We can't let them get away with this. 100 people in the funeral who were her real life friends turn around and look at this 20-year-old man shouting to shout. Faye's like, okay, I need to distract you. Let's steal some drugs.
You know what? I know it seems out of left field and very contrived, but it does seem like something Faye would do, because at the last funeral for Nick Armstrong, she was also on drugs. So that's just her go-to.
I guess it's her thing. That's her pattern. That's how she deals with grief. I will say regardless, Faye and Jake are a pair sent from hell to burn up my psyche. And I don't care for them. And I skipped through very many of their scenes in this episode because I simply couldn't be asked.
Wow. I didn't skip, so...
And I'm happy for you. Surely they use, like, magic and Jane's death to steal drugs from her mother. It's gotta be, like, bottom 10 moments of this entire show, maybe television. Meanwhile, Cassie's in her room crying, again over dead Jane. Adam comes in to comfort her. Cassie says the thing that stings is that she was the last thing left of her mother, and I was like, you're not grieving her as her own person? This was your grandmother, girl. This was Jane Blake. I didn't know Amelia. She died in the first episode. This is my grandmama.
I mean, she was closer to her mom. I guess she was never in Chance Harbor, so I don't know how much of her grandmother she saw growing up.
And to be fair, for like half the show, she's been in a home, so you know how much bonding do they get to do? It just sucks to hear, man. I love that woman. Adam tries to comfort her. They almost kiss.
They do kiss.
They do kiss.
She pulls him in and kisses him. And
yes, they do. And John Blackwell walks in.
It looks as though he was in the act of stopping her. I'm not sure. As John Blackwell like knocks on the door.
It was breaking apart in some way. Yeah. She apologizes. John Blackwell opens, and then like they've stepped away from each other. He's like, just checking in on you, and she's like, yeah, you know, I just need to step away.
After Adam has walked out of Cassie's room, she has a brief conversation with her father, her biological father, and he's like, how are you? Are you okay? And she's like, not really. My grandmother's dead, and it turns out my father has slept with half of Chance Harbor. I love it.
So good.
And John Blackwell is like, listen, I was deeply in love with your mother. When we broke up, I was with Elizabeth Mead one time. I will step up and be a father to Diana, but this changes nothing about how much I loved your mother and how much I love you.
It's a necessary conversation, and the lash is funny as hell. But yeah, it's funny that he's like, I'll step up for Diana. It's like, who is requesting this? Then it's when Faye and Jake combine their powers to knock over her mom's... No, they don't combine her powers. She goes to distract her mom and is like, the death of Jane, I'm feeling so sad. Liar. Jake uses magic to knock over the purse. The pills fall out, which makes it easier for them to grab it. I guess because he doesn't have to rummage.
Yeah.
Lucky they were sitting on top.
Somebody might notice a teenage boy rummaging through a handbag at a funeral.
That's true. And then they take the pills and they dip. Meanwhile, Charles Meade is now... comes home to find Diana. They're having, usual conversation. Hi, how was your day? How was the funeral? Diana goes, is John Blackwell my father? Charles is like, So about that, Diana is like, well, it's coming from Cassie and John Blackwell, and it's seeming that the information's coming together. And immediately Charles is like, your mother and I were in a rough patch. We were apart for a few weeks, and when we came back together, we were stronger than ever. And when you were born, I was there from day one, and we were magic. I said I would raise you. And it's like, I can't tell if it's like...
I also couldn't tell.
Is he saying he knew from the beginning, or he found out later?
I also could not tell. because he seems surprised by some of the information she has. And then he's like, oh, okay, well,
Exactly.
your mom and I were separated after we went through a rough patch. But then we got back together and we were stronger than ever. And she turns away and she's like, this isn't happening. And he's like, no, but I was there for you. You're my child. You know, I raised you. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm not sure. And later on, Diana will say to Cassie when she meets up with her,
I told my dad someone else slept with his wife.
yeah, he's like, I told my dad the man he hated most slept with his wife.
I'm like, I thought he was aware. He seems at the very least to be aware she's not his biological child. Maybe what's new is that he didn't know it was John Blackwell specifically.
Maybe that's it.
Because then he goes to accost John Blackwell. And in that conversation, it seems like he knew and he's mad that John Blackwell told Diana. So I really don't know where the knowledge sits here.
Not sure.
Weird.
I do like when he accosts Blackwell though, but I guess we'll get to it.
We'll get to that. The conclusion of this conversation is he's like, I'm your father because I raised you. Don't trust that man. He will want to use this to manipulate you. And Diana hears this and is like, I won't go to him. You are my dad. Trust me. So that was an interesting, like usually when these storylines happens, it's sort of like an explosion of the nuclear dynamic and like this, that, and the other thing. But she immediately goes, yeah, I don't trust that man. He's shady boots. You're my dad who's been present the whole time. Now, we do have to acknowledge Charles the bastard man Meade has done many evil things.
Yes.
But Diana doesn't know this.
Yes, she has no reason to suspect that. And I was watching this episode thinking, I know Sandile is having the time of his life because you're like, the only person now in this circle who's like, maybe we shouldn't just be trusting John Blackwell with every little thing involving our secrets and our safety is Diana Meade. And it's like, yeah,
that makes sense.
Logical, responsible, intelligent queen.
She's the most responsible. She's the most logical. She's the only one with her brain switched on 100% of the time. I lie. 99. That Grant blip will never make sense to me, but I digress. She's allowed one emotional digression. Yeah, I would feel bad for Charles in all of this, but again, like his list is simply too long at this point for me to be concerned about his emotional reaction to the infidelity. So Adam, Melissa, John Blackwell, because Jake and Faye are gone, Diana's gone, and Cassie's gone. So it's just Adam and Melissa. John has them collect the existing crystals they have in order to find the others using this map to which light will reflect or whatever. It's the same shit that Charles and Dawn were doing, except Luku doesn't need a blood moon because they've coalesced enough power. What are the ones they have already? They have the Blake one.
They have the
Glacier one. They have the Chamberlain one.
And
then the
Meade one, we assume,
have Phase one.
Phase one is the Chamberlain one. So they have the Meade one.
The Meade one Faye brings because...
That's later.
Sorry. That happens after.
Jumping the gun.
But where's the fourth one? Because I feel like they have four.
Oh, it's the Armstrong one that was in the mine.
Right, and the Armstrong one in the mine. So they have four, and then Adam, and then Melissa. So it's a full circle, so to speak. And then they're like, oh, we found only one, not two. They're like, where is it? It's next door to Cassie's house. Which is strange to not say it's in Jake's house, because they know that's his house. But okay, cut to sex scene of Jake and Faye. Who cares? They opened the pills because I guess they were going to do them while having sex?
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
I was like, I'm surprised you didn't take the pills already before you started hooking up. All right.
They open it to find there's no pills inside. That's where Dawn's been hiding the crystal. Now that is a clever hiding scheme. I'll give her that. Faye comes running with the crystal in hand. I found the crystal. Jake's like, we tried it. It's empty. And she's like, well, yeah.
He's like, I may have tested it out. And I was like, yeah, you jumped at the chance to do some solo magic. I bet I would have loved to see your face fall when it didn't work.
I guess it's happened enough times that they were like, we don't need to run through this. It's like the newer superhero movies. They're like, you don't need an origin story. We all know the deal. So then they're like, okay, well, the only ones left is the Conant one. Adam's like, well, I don't know. John Blackwell's like, maybe your grandfather left some clue to it before he died. And I was like, didn't we just say last episode that Adam's grandparents are across the country? When did his grandfather die? In between?
He died
last in this episode? I guess he just died yesterday. conveniently the same time as Jane Blake died. It's a week of mourning for the circle.
You know why? Because it was a Blake and a Connor, and they're written in the stars.
Wait, we didn't even ask this, right? Because if the curse is fake, then that means the original phrase is real, right?
Yes.
That the Blakes and the Connants are written in the stars. So did Grandmama Blake have a Connant that she was in love with that they never got together?
Possibly.
Ooh,
That's why I was like, it's
curious.
crazy that you said Ethan never comes back in the show, because he gets told a lie that
Yeah.
devastates him and shatters all his beliefs.
Yeah.
And then we, the audience, find out that no, it was a lie. He was right, but we don't see him
And
again.
we never see him again. So we must presume he never finds this out because post the finale, all those characters are in stasis. Wild. So they're like, yeah, I figure it out. There must be some clue he left behind, I guess. They like figure that his grandfather must have cloaked it. Suddenly we're like, yeah, the Connants are cloakers, so he must have cloaked it. It's like, this is new information to me, but I'll run with it. Nobody's talking about the Balcoin Dark Circle plot, like, at all, right? Am I crazy for being like, we have all these pictures of the conspiracy wall?
I guess only 3 of the circle members know that, and they just decided not to tell everyone else.
Okay, a choice. Adam and Melissa paired up again. Love to see it. She's helping him try and figure it out. They can't crack it because Adam rightfully says, my grandfather supposedly was so good at like cloaking, but he's supposed to have left some clue to the thing he didn't want found. Like, how does this make any sense? Melissa asks him about why he's in such a mood, and then he's like, well, Cassie and I kissed at the funeral. Melissa's like, oh my god, wait, what's going on over there, bestie? Spill the tea. And Adam's like, yeah, we drank the elixir, so we don't remember each other, but like, I don't know. And she's like, did you feel something romantic? And he says no, but it's not like confident. So I don't know if he's just like saying that, because then after he's like very clearly like conflicted, because he's like, it's not supposed to be, you know, we're supposed to have forgotten, like, what's the deal? And she's like, maybe you guys will like rekindle your feelings. You guys have always had something from episode 1, so maybe it just starts over like from the beginning and it'll be real cute. And Adam's like, we have a curse on our families. If that happens, one of you dies. So I wouldn't be that excited. Then Melissa's like, hey, we should drink. Because
Yes.
that's the most logical thing.
She's
to
like,
do.
I have a different kind of elixir that can make us feel better.
Melissa, when they let you, you've got some bars. She's like, it'll help us get into the headspace of your grandfather because he has a very nice collection of alcohol sitting on a counter.
And then I was like, is alcohol just this family's thing?
I guess so. I guess we know where Ethan got it from. You know, the shit doesn't start from
no.
nowhere. Oh, bless. So Cassie goes to Diana to just chat, I guess. Just to be like, hey, just reminding you, sestra.
She's like, you weren't answering your phone or your texts. And then she's like, I told my dad about Blackwell being my bio father. And then she's like, what happened? And
So forthright.
she's like, it was terrible. He had no idea. And that's when she's like, I just told him the man he hates most in the world slept with his wife.
Okay, so I guess he had no idea. I'm gonna assume he just didn't know it was John Blackwell, and that's that.
And then with a little more sass coming in, like 2 episodes ago, she's like, anyway, what's the emergency? I take it there is one. And I'm like, all right, Diana.
Why are you acting brand new? You started the circle. You know this shit is serious. I understand you're struggling right now, but damn.
She said, I am tired.
Oh, I get it. Cassie's like, so yeah, we're trying to get these crystals together.
Faye's crystal is drained, but my dad said that there's a spell we can use to recharge it, but it requires the whole circle. And then she's like, my father's going to show us how. And then Diana's like, I'm not sure that's a good idea. Is it smart to do absolutely everything
that
Blackwell
Blackwell
tells us to? And I was
says.
like, yes,
Cassie's like,
Diana.
why all of a sudden he's been helping out and he's protected us. He's kept us safe multiple times. Diana's like, hey, I'm just saying we don't know him and we've heard a bunch of things. So I think we just need to be very particular. And that starting some beef, shall we say.
Because she's all like, it's the only way to stop the witch hunters. And Diana's like, what if it's not the only way? And I was like, thank you, Diana. The only one asking any questions.
Good question.
The only one saying, let's cite different sources. You don't write an essay and say, I read one book on the subject and now I'm an expert.
Right, let's do a differential diagnosis. Let's get 3 to establish a statistical pattern. Let us get some methodology in this bitch. What are we doing? No one's ever worked a dissertation before.
And the irony is Cassie is all fired up this episode because she's like, well, the witch hunters killed my grandmother, so they're closer than ever. And we need to, and I'm like, oh, if you only knew.
If you only
knew.
So they head back to the witch house. Oh, I forget what sets it off, but Faye says, let me not get between the dark magic twins, super twins.
She's so bitter.
Like, oh God, Faye, please.
I think Diana tells them when she gets to the witch house with Cassie, she's like, well, let me now reveal that I am the long-lost Blake child. And Faye's like, oh, so unfair. Of course it's you.
And it's like, well, who else, girl? Again, she started this shit. Why do you think you deserve it? And so she's like, oh, dark magic super twins over here. And Diana's like, well, not exactly. Cassie's like, what does that mean? Diana's like, even if I have dark magic, I've never used it. I wouldn't do that.
Oh,
and it's
yes.
like, oh.
She looks at Cassie and she's like, we're very different people. And I was like, no, what was
Dragging
this
Cassie for filth with a single statement. That was so crazy. Diana's on one in this one. In the interim, things start flying around as Cassie and Diana are going back and forth. And someone asks, Cassie, are you doing this? And she's like, no. And I'm like, is this Diana's first instance of dark magic, maybe? No, some magic shit is happening. And a crystal falls through the table, warped through reality, and disappears. Truly, Jake goes outside and it's like, it's the witch hunters. There's a circle of, take your pick of what material it is that's inhibiting our magic. And they're like, but then how do they do that? How do they cast magic? It must be the traitor witch. So now we're on the hunt for the traitor. Jake is the one to be like, you know who could help us in this scenario figure out who the traitor witch is? Isaac. Remember Isaac? He keeps coming up now. And they're like, well, he's a witch hunter. Why would we trust him? And Jake's like, well, we go way back. I'll chat with him. We'll figure it out. Cassie's like, witch hunters killed my grandmother, if you'll remember. So I don't see why we would do this. Diana's like, I think it's our one shot. Maybe we should try it. And it's like, oh, my sisters are on
Jake's
opposite
reasoning
sides.
is that there's been a schism that he, I guess, he theorizes there must be a schism because Isaac would never support Eben using dark magic and demons and yada yada. And I'm like, you don't know this man as well as you think you do. He lied to you about your parents' demise. Why would you think?
Lied to him
but
about
okay,
a lot.
Jake.
Hey, listen, Jake is none of my business, truly. So I have no interest. Diana's like, I think we should try it. It's worth following up. And Cassie's like, all right, well, I guess we should tell my dad. And Diana's like, or maybe we don't. We were circled before him.
Yes.
We can handle ourselves.
Yes,
It's like,
Diana.
But also she's correct.
I love how little she trusts John Blackwell because someone needs to be suspicious of this.
Somebody's got to take a stand. Everyone has been so swayed by this man and his base level of charisma. It's a very Ted Bundy situation, if you ask me. But anyways. Oh, it was at this point where I was like, could the traitor be Dawn? That wouldn't make any sense though because she doesn't have any magic.
Yes.
And they said she didn't know the witch hunters was back. So it can't be Dawn. How would that be? Unless she was hiding some secret sixth crystal, some secret seventh crystal, like the superpositional dagger. I don't know. But anyways, Adam and Melissa still trying to figure it out. They're being very cute. They're drunk. They're like hee hee ho ho. Then Adam spots coin framed on the wall and is like, wait, that was my grandfather's favorite coin. He'd carry it everywhere. And then he takes it and he's like, he used to do this trick where he'd spin it around his fingers and instead of saying it would disappear, they say he cloaked it. And it's like, okay, I get that is the magical term that we're now realizing is what he was doing, but surely at the time, the common parlance would be he made it disappear. No? Like a magic trick. Whatever. Made it disappear. And now he's like, oh, that was the magic. I see now. So let me try and recreate this physical trick and maybe the magic will kick off? Is that what is happening? Does that make sense?
I mean, sometimes the movement is part of the spell. Swish and flick.
Sure, but there is the Wingardium Leviosa. Certainly when you're doing a spell you don't know. But it doesn't seem like Melissa's helping him do this cloaking.
I guess the intent. She's just like, he's trying to do magic. I'm thinking about how I want him to be able to do it. So that's
I want the coin to disappear. Sure, okay. So he does it the first time. It doesn't work. He's like, wait, no, I'm missing a piece. And then he does it again. He's like voguing for the the first time at the ball. You know, it's a little crunchy. He has to get the moves right. He's Madame Morrible summoning a tornado. Once he gets it right, the coin disappears, and they're both like, oh my god, oh, that's so cool. Okay, make it reappear. Wait, I don't know how to do that part. Sorry. Then we cut away from that. Then it's Charles.
Yes.
So Charles Meade walks into the cafe where John Blackwell's
Charles
just having
organizes
coffee.
a meeting with John because he sees that Diana has left him a note saying, Daddy, I'm off on a side quest. And then he's like, okay, I'm going to phone Blackwell. And then in a later scene, he meets up with him. And I was like, okay. I was like, how did you get John here? Did you just say we need to talk? And then he just
I guess he
came?
just said need to talk and we'll meet at a cafe. And then John came to meet at a cafe. What does John have to fear? He's got the magic. That's the thing I was thinking when this happened. But then Charles, cojones of steel in the Meade family this episode. Charles is like, you stay away from my daughter. She is mine. And you will not use her. And John's like, I, wasn't planning on telling her and I didn't. She figured it out. She's a smart girl. I see where she gets it from. He doesn't say that, but that's the energy. And Charles is like, you better cut your shit or else. And John's like, or else what?
You're gonna hit me
in a public place? And Charles swings.
Charles is like,
I was
well,
not
yes.
expecting that.
Pow! Punches him in the face as he's staggering back up, backhands him, a whole bitch slap and knocks him off his feet. Kicks him before he can get up again.
Knocks him the heck down. It's a 3-in-a-row wombo combo. Charles Meade with nothing to lose. Charles Meade off the top rope with the steel chair and the people's elbow somehow at the same time. Not bad. I was like, okay, respect. You are a bastard man, but this is cool.
It was so satisfying. It was like when you finally see someone get the beatdown they deserve.
John then comes up and tries to strangle Charles and is like, do you really want to test me? What are you doing? And Charles is like, yeah, you've got magic, but you're not going to do anything to me. Now that we know Diana's your daughter, she will know if you do something to me that it was you. She's smarter than you. She's better than you. So keep your shit to yourself. I'ma walk on out and I'm getting out of town with my beloved. Goodbye. And he leaves. Because it's true. Mm-hmm. So that's how that one goes. Dawn then realizes her crystal's missing because she rummages through her bag, opens a pill case and sees it's not there. Why was she looking for it when it's dead? Not my business.
No, I guess she just noticed something was missing from her bag. Maybe she checks every now and then to make sure the pills are still
right,
there.
they took the whole canister. What am I saying? She didn't check the canister. They took the canister with the crystal in it. Right. So that's how she figures that out. So completely out of the loop. Poor Dawn. Cassie, Diana, and Jake are now off to go meet with Isaac. They're looking for Isaac in the woods, and they find Ian, that bastard man from the
Halloween episode.
The Halloween dance, where they had them all trapped up.
And he had the pig
Isaac's
mask.
dead.
Yes.
And it's like, what? I guess we're not seeing JR born again, too. Losing all my faves in this last arc.
He was in Teen Wolf. He was busy being Chris Argent.
That's true.
It was
That's
2012.
true. He was very busy in the moment. Ian's like, it's chill. Eben killed him because a schism has happened indeed, like Jake theorized. He's working with the traitor witch. Isaac couldn't stand and he wanted to leave. And Eben killed him for it.
And Cassie is like, why should we trust you? You're a witch hunter. You're probably the one who killed my grandma the other day.
Y'all just killed my grandmother.
He who was witness to the first time she used the magic is stupid enough to be like, I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't kill your grandmother. And she's like, yes, you did. You're a witch hunter. You're a murderer. Why would I believe you? And he's like, oh, I'm a murderer? What about when you set Luke on fire? Remember him? And I'm like, why are you antagonizing her?
Like,
why
would she has the dark magic. You are talking about your friend who pissed her off and died, and now you're trying to die, I guess. And she turns a dark magic on him, and he starts hemorrhaging in the throat and chest and coughing up blood. Everyone tries to pull it back. It doesn't work. Diana walks up in front of her and says, stop! And then she stops. It's like, ooh, my dark magic sisters. They could keep each other level.
I know Faye was seething in the background.
Ian gives them the rest of the information. He's like, yeah, that's the shit. Sorry about it. Don't know about the traitor witch. I never saw him and I don't know who he is. But he says he. So we know it's a male person, and it's like, okay, I guess that narrows 50% of the world population. That should make this easier. So they're like, damn, what the hell are we gonna do? How is it they know where to chase after him? They go to the carnival?
Someone tells them something, and then they're like, oh, it's that, and then the name of the carnival, and then Cassie's like, what's that? And Faye's like, ugh, the creepiest place on earth.
That's all I remember is Faye was really afraid of the carnival.
I think Ian might have given them the info that was either where the witch hunters had met, or he agrees to meet them there later, or something like that.
Yes, he's like, I'll meet you there later and give you what I can in honor of Jake's papa relationship with Isaac. And so they go to meet there later, and on the way there, Cassie and Diana are having this back and forth about the dark magic thing, because Cassie's like, oh, you had a lot to say earlier about me, huh? You want to chat about that? Because while they're like planning to do things, Diana's like, I'll go with so-and-so. 2 other people pair up, and then Diana turns to Cassie and is like, okay, then I guess we'll go together. And Cassie's like, your enthusiasm is glowing. Oh god. Jake and Faye pair up to go together because they've been sexing around the whole episode, I guess.
Yes.
So Cassie and Diana have a back and forth about dark magic where, listen, it's none of my business that you're constantly killing people, but that's low-key something I don't want to do because I think it's wrong. That's all. And Cassie's like, now hold on. Because you've been speaking out the side of your mouth all episode. Do you think I kill people for fun? Do you think I enjoy killing people? Do you think it's easy for me to do that? I'll let you remember the day that my dark magic woke up, you were about to be burned at the stake, baby girl. And what saved your life? The dark magic that you're decrying right now. So maybe remember that before you come at me. And I was like, you know what, Cassie? You make a good goddamn point, because where would the circle be if you didn't dark up every now and in a while? Diana's like, hey, fair enough. But I still think killing people's wrong. So
And I was like, oh no, Diana in her Marvel/DC superhero era of like, no matter what, killing is always off the table. We'll find another way to defeat the evil Dr. Nazi.
We'll find another way to defeat the alien fascist who is creating brood camps.
Adam and Melissa. The coin was cloaked, but Adam was like, I can still feel it in my hand. And then they were like, okay, what's uncloaking spell? Melissa's like, maybe it's the writing that was on the coin. And he's like, I didn't memorize it. Oh no. And then he's like, wait, if I can still feel it and it's tangible, put the paper on top, scribble over it, and then you'll see the shape. And I was like, clever. That old school trick.
Old Shakespeare tricks for the win. It's from the days of we write information on the pad next to the phone, rip off a page, the impression is still on the next page. Very cool shit. And so then they recite it in tandem, and it uncloaks the coin, but it also uncloaks everything that his grandfather has hidden in the room, or maybe everywhere.
Everywhere on Earth,
spell, in my opinion. And they see a compartment that's on the wall that was not there before. And when he opens it, he finds... It's not just the crystal out there, is it?
I think. I don't know. Maybe the crystal's the only important thing. What I did note is I'm like, okay, so at this point we have seen all 6 crystals. I'm not seeing how these shapes combine to make a skull. I was like, what kind of a skull is this? I guess you didn't say it was a human skull, but usually when we say crystal skull, we imagine that it's some sort of hominid. So
I'm sure there's some reformation that's going to happen. Much like Christianity in the era the skull was created, there's some reformation that's going to happen.
Because I'm the kind of pedantic person who pays attention to that kind of thing. I was like, firstly, it doesn't seem like 6 pieces is enough to make a skull, given how small the pieces are. And then I was like, these shapes, even if I say, okay, it's the upper skull, there's no jaw. I was like, how?
Where's the hole of the eye? Where are the teeth?
I'm not seeing the eye sockets, the nose, the teeth. I'm not seeing, the crown of the head.
6 teeth, right? There's no skull here. But also, Melissa starts referring to him as like a cloaking genius. You're so good at cloaking. And it's like, what are we selling here? And I think I vaguely remember, but it's weird to sell it this hard. So keep that in mind, listener. So now we've got the 6th crystal. Back to the carnival. Yeah, Jake and Faye split off. Cassie and Diana split off. At some point, they're close enough. Jake and Faye are hey, ho, 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 ki. I don't care what they're talking about. Cassie and Diana having that conversation. Then they both open a door and scream. And they're like, false alarm, it's just a disgusting rat. And Faye's like, they're so dumb or whatever. And it's like, all right. And they continue off. Jake and Faye are the ones to run into a dead Ian with his throat slashed. Crazy.
And then the ride switches on, and we see that in the other seats of this carnival ride are a bunch of other dead witch hunters.
Dead hunters on a tilt-a-whirl of all things. A whimsical, tilting, whirling ride. Dead bodies throat slashed all over. Hello. And this is the moment. I don't know why, like a lightning bolt in my head, I'm like, who else is left for the witch hunters to have been able to get to? I was like, witch hunters, Eben, demons, Nick? I out loud screamed Nick, and then I remembered, wait, Nick comes back! And that's when it occurred to me. I was very excited. Because, as we all know, Nick Armstrong was not a fave, but I was like, there could have been something done with this character, and certainly I would have liked him more than Jake. But I digress. Dawn Chamberlain, John Blackwell comes to speak to her about the Charles incident, and is like, Charles is on some shit. And Dawn's like, oh, shame, what's that about? And he's like, well, he found out I'm Diana's father. And she's like, oh, you and Elizabeth? And John says, well, you and I tried, Dawn, but that never worked out. And it's like, of course this man lied. Cassie was right to lash him.
I mean, I wasn't necessarily interpreting that as they had a sexual relationship. I just interpreted it as there was something that went on, but it didn't really...
I think that's the implication. I think he means they had some sort of affair going on and they tried to have a child, because Dawn says, you'll never stop blaming me for that. I think they tried and she maybe miscarried. That was what I was getting from that. Because John Blackwell's whole thing is he wanted to sire children.
They're both clearly fertile. They have kids with other people. I wonder why they couldn't conceive with each other. A different family curse.
That's the thing, is that in these situations, historically, women have been blamed, but it might very well have been John Blackwell misfiring for whatever reason, and maybe when with a different person it worked out.
With two different people. That's why I was like, they're both clearly able to have kids.
Then I don't know. But that, I don't see what else that could have been. He was like, you and I tried, Dawn. What else could that mean after you and Elizabeth?
I just thought maybe it meant you and I, our relationship never got that far, despite the fact that we were into each other. But I mean, who knows?
But why would she say you'd never stop blaming me for that? That is a very particular statement that feels charged to me in the way of like, you couldn't bear me a son, you know?
Yeah, that tracks.
But I mean, they don't explain it very clearly. It's just, I'm just extrapolating from the context of all in which we stand and all in which comes before us. So he's like, yeah, so now Charles getting all uppity because of it, and he's gonna take Diana away. And you know, that's not good for the circle that I'm trying to protect from witch hunters. And if you help me out, I'll make sure you get your power back. And Dawn's like, how would you ever get that? The elders won't approve. And John's like, well, once we're done with the hunters, we're going to eliminate the elders like we always dreamed of when we were young. And it's like, oh, shit. Okay. And he's like, we've already got all the crystals. They can't do anything to us. Dawn's like, how'd you get my crystal? And John's like, oh, Faye gave it to me. And her face changes. And she's like, Faye? Wow, I didn't realize she was so involved. And it's in that moment that I went, okay, Dawn Chamberlain, I see you. And I'm going to choose to trust you in this moment. And it did, in fact, pay off. But she says, well, you know I'm on your side, John Blackwell. I'll speak to Charles. Don't worry about it.
Is it that scene with John in which she's like, it was right after the funeral, at the funeral, because he was like, oh yeah, the witch hunters killed Jane. That's awful, which she seems to believe. And then she's like, you know, they're closing in on us. If I had my magic, I could help you out. And he's like, just worry about yourself, Dawn. You're good at that.
Ooh, but now he's changing his tune nicely because he's between a rock and a hard place. Dawn's like, yeah, sure, I'll help you out. Goes straight to Charles. Charles is packing up, being like, I'm leaving with Diana. First of all, do the Meads not close their doors? Because Cassie walked in earlier and was like, Diana, you're not answering your texts. And now Dawn's walking in being like, Charles, you're not answering your texts. Why is their door just open?
I've had to accept that apparently in America, people just don't lock their doors sometimes. If they're not asleep at night in the house, the doors are just unlocked.
Couldn't be me. Good luck with that in y'all's lives. She says, hey, buddy, wake the hell up. You could not get any distance far enough to escape that she's bound to this circle. She will always be in trouble so long as John Blackwell is around, manipulating our children the same way he manipulated us 16 years ago. I know we've had our differences, but we need to lock the hell in. Not for ourselves, but for Diana and for Faye. And in that moment, I went, this is a potential mother. She is here to stop the evil man from taking their children. Let's leave aside that they were using the children in the first place to get their power back. She does say this, she acknowledges it. She's not perfect. But now she's locking in for the right reasons to protect the children. She says, we're the ones who put them in this position because we wanted our power back so bad. Now we need to protect them.
A single mom who works two jobs. She's the principal and also possibly a dangerous witch.
So, back to all the dead hunters. They're like, what the hell? I guess the traitor witch must have done this. And then someone runs by in the background, hooded and shadowed, and they start running after them. Now it's a chase scene. We're sprinting. And he gets to like a fence, and Cassie and Diana, for whatever reasons they were sprinting, he's cornered. He can't get away. And then he runs through a closed gate. The bars break and scatter in all directions. Like, okay. They run after him. Cassie already gathering the dark magic from sources unknown. And Diana's like, bitch, don't you do it. Cassie pulls one of those broken bars and gets ready to throw it like a javelin with the magic. And Diana's like, please, we just spoke about this. And at the last second, instead of impaling this escaping man, she flips the thing sideways and knocks him over the way she knocked Ethan Conant. And he falls down. Faye and Jake weren't here to see the witch. They had gone into his hideout to like find information and clues. And it's at that point, while Cassie and Diana are approaching the knocked over witch who has dropped the crystal that he stole, Jake has picked up a photo, and it's a photo of his family.
Yes,
and
okay.
He's like, why would the traitor witch have a photo of my family?
That was the moment where I was like, wait. Wait.
And at that moment,
so at
Cassie's
the 11th
like,
hour, I was like, wait.
And the witch turns over, and shame. Bloated, necrotic, seen better days, but still my boy, Nick Armstrong, looks over his shoulder at them, and she's like, Nick? End of episode, la da 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 da. I didn't think that's where they were gonna end it.
I was shook.
Gagged, shook, flummoxed, and flabbergasted. 15 episodes he's been gone. Boom, all of a sudden. Happy to see him.
Don't know where the actor was. Don't know what he was up to, but I'm glad they allowed him to come back.
I don't think he was out to anything. I really think it was a Vicky situation, but I don't know. I can't be sure.
I mean, they seem to be pushing him as like one of the 6 leads. It'd be wild for them to do that. They're not Joss Whedon. It'd be wild for them to do that and then be like, and then he's dead before we're halfway through the series.
Yeah, I don't know. Regardless, I'm just happy we get him back in some capacity, even though he's maybe a zombie. It's like, how is he alive? Maybe a demon. Demon energies are puppeting him. He is anti-Nephilim. But yeah, wild pair of episodes. I'm less mad about episode 20. I think I was just mad during the episode because of Jake and Faye. So just completely disregarding it really helped me recontextualize this episode. It was very good.
I was enjoying it. I love the conflict between Cassie and Diana.
That was my favorite bit because it's interesting to position them against each other, because the question of like dark magic, is it inherently corruptible? Is it a given that you turn to the dark side? And it's like, well, I guess not. To be fair, Diana's only just found out about it, and she hasn't had her, near-death experience where her magic has awoken. But she's like, girl, I don't want to do all that. So it's interesting.
I love her. She's like, I would never use dark magic. We're very different people. I just know Faye was thinking, oh, God, I see what you have done for others. I would never fumble
Faye.
the bag like this. Let me have the dark magic.
Let me have the dark magic. I will fulfill whatever dark will that the forces of evil that apparently exist in this world are seeking. That's my question, which I'm sure would have been explained in detail in subsequent seasons. But what is the war between good and evil? Who are the generals? Who are the armies? Who are the allies and the axes?
It's Arcadius the devil,
Right,
his
of
lieutenants, the 2 sirens.
The sirens, his boss, Catherine Pierce. And then on the other side, it's the powers that be.
The powers that be.
I don't know. Yeah, that's Crystal and Traitor. I can't think of anything else other than it's just the 2-part finale left. Or I guess the penultimate and the finale.
I'm going to be sad to see them go. I'm horrified of what cliffhangers we're going to end on. Because when I think of the stepsister show, Vampire Diaries, I'm like, if it had ended at season 1, we would have seen Catherine stab John, finally coming back to town,
Goodbye,
and never gotten the resolution to that. She's in the house with Elena. Jeremy would be ODing, trying to become a vampire.
Oh, maybe dead.
Catherine would have kissed Damon, who thinks it's Elena. And Tyler would have these yellow eyes for some reason, while Caroline is in critical condition on her way to the hospital.
That would have been insane. I remember at least 3 things about the Secret Circle finale that were very juicy. And that's all I'll say.
Oh, I'm going to feel so incomplete. It's going to be Witch all over again.
But until next week, we thank you for listening. If you have any questions, thoughts, or just want to say hi, you can email us at animalattackpod@gmail.com. You can also tweet us at animattackpod. That's at ANIM Attack Pod. You'll find a link tree in our bio that has all our online stuff. And don't forget, even though next week is our mid-season finale, soon after we will be diving into our 2nd season of the podcast, in which we're discussing Teen Wolf. Woo! We may have a spot in between that's maybe a small break or like a spin-off or something, but we will be back in your ears very soon to discuss the MTV sleeper hit.
I was gonna howl like a wolf, but the wolves in that universe roar for some reason.
They do. Questions for the lore episodes of season 2. But until then, mourn your dead grandma, slit some hunters' throats, and fight about dark magic, because isn't that what sisterhood's all about? Thank you, and cheers.
Bye.